What a 24 hours it has been. And it's so much fun to watch everybody in the establishment freak out over what happened yesterday. The ouster of House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. You got people like Ben Shapiro out there. God bless Ben Shapiro. He does a lot of great work at the Daily Wire. But he's freaking out. I was reading the comments, and he's getting a lot of backlash in the comments. And time again, they're bringing up the point, hey, you don't do your job, you get voted out. And people are throwing around the word chaos. Chaos is how things get done. Trust me, I know. I've seen this firsthand. I work at a hotel. That's my day job. You have 100 check-ins. The phones are ringing off the hook. Somebody comes in at 3 in the morning wanting to crash for a couple hours, what we call a same-day use room. Maybe they extend their stay, but nobody tells you. So you don't know if that room's clean or dirty. You learn through chaos. You don't learn by being complacent. So this leads me to an opinion piece at CNN. And this is by Jill Filipovic. Last name Fillipovic. Opinion, Matt Gaetz broke Kevin McCarthy for sport. Take a sip of my coffee here. Pardon me. The only reason that Matt Gaetz did this, maybe we should date Matt. There you go. Who wants to date Matt Gaetz? No. The only reason that Matt Gaetz did this was because he hates Kevin McCarthy and he's only doing it for sport. Not because Kevin McCarthy didn't deliver on his promises. Not that they were letting these spending bills go through, squandering the taxpayers' money. No. That has nothing to do with it. It was all for sport. As the Republican Party continues its Trump-led descent into the kind of crass and constant drama usually only found on reality TV, you see, this is a reality television show, according to this author. And I can guarantee you that Congress had its highest ratings on TV yesterday because of this vote. Thank you, Matt Gaetz. Whether you like the guy or hate the guy, at least you got to admit the guy had some balls. One man has emerged to be the breakout star of this ignominious circus, Representative Matt Gaetz of Florida. He succeeded Tuesday in removing Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy. Gaetz and other Republicans who voted to remove McCarthy couldn't forgive him for staving off a government shutdown last weekend with the help of Democrat votes. McCarthy began an impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden despite so far being unable to present any evidence. They have a misprint here. Being unable to present any evidence that links the president to wrongdoing. Joe Biden has never done anything wrong in his entire life. He is as innocent as the white driven snow, whatever you call it. Nevertheless, Gaetz accused McCarthy of being too cooperative with Democrats and the current president. The far-right Gaetz lined up enough unhinged members of his increasingly unhinged party, so you're all unhinged. You don't want the government squandering your money, you're unhinged. To remove McCarthy and grind Congress to a halt. That is the most work that Congress has done in God knows how long. That clearly is the plan, not to improve the functioning of the House or deliver for constituents. How about this, Miss Filipovic, or Mrs. Filipovic? I don't know if you're married or not. How about we bring everything back to the states and stop focusing so much on the center, the way it was originally designed? The only purpose of the federal government should be oversee international trade, protect the homeland, and settle disputes between states. That's it. It's not to give you health care or Social Security, not to be involved in every single aspect of your daily life. Moving along here with the article, And it's a strategy that seems to be drawn from former president and former reality TV star Donald Trump, whose actions during his campaign and his presidency seemed more targeted at capturing attention than actually making America great. Are you better off under Joe Biden? And I didn't vote for either, okay? Didn't vote for either Biden or Trump. But are you better off, or were you better off under Trump, or are you better off now under Biden? The former president decried House Republicans' infighting in an apparent reference to Gaetz moving to oust McCarthy ahead of the House vote Tuesday. Quote, "Why is it that Republicans are always fighting amongst themselves? Why aren't they fighting the radical left Democrats who are destroying our country?" Trump posted on Truth Social. Now, I somewhat agree with this. But the root of the problem here isn't this infighting, in my humble opinion. It's the fact that you have Republican Democrat. They are so stuck in their ways. They have no originality whatsoever. Well, we're Republicans because our great-great-grandpappy was a Republican back in the day. And we can't look at things through any other lens except Republican or Democrat. But 7 other Republican members of Congress lined up behind Gaetz to oust the speaker also can't even talk today. Also says quite a bit about how unprincipled and vile the party has become. So if you support Matt Gaetz, you're vile. You're unpredictable. You're unhinged. No, what it is, we're real. We're real. We see what happens day to day. We get them to go to work. We see what happens in Congress every time we turn on the news, how they're not working for us like they should be. Who House Republicans could agree on to fill McCarthy's shoes is anyone's guess. Gaetz and other Republicans object to McCarthy's leadership in part because the Speaker has worked a tiny bit, and that's in parentheses, with Democrats to avoid a government shutdown, and because the House has held votes on sending aid to Ukraine. Why are we sending aid to the Ukraine? Here's an idea. Why don't we stay out of it and let the Ukraine and Russia duke it out? That's what you do. See, if I were president, that's exactly what I would tell these two countries. Hey, you guys duke it out. And if you're not going to reach an agreement, guess what? We're not going to trade with you. No immigration. You're being cut off. You do that, and I guarantee you they'll stop fighting immediately. Immediately. Works every time. Isn't that amazing? American voters don't align with Gaetz, according to a CNN poll conducted by CSSRS. A large majority of Americans want bipartisanship and to see their party working across the aisle. Well, most people are middle of the road, honestly, if you think about it. I don't care what you do, just don't do it in front of me. Gaetz is also a man who seems to court controversy in the eye of law enforcement. As the New York Times first reported, the old gray lady getting grayer, he faced a Department of Justice inquiry into whether he broke federal sex trafficking laws after he allegedly had with a 17-year-old girl who he also paid to travel with him across state lines. Gaetz was never charged, but his old friend and political ally Joel Greenberg, who was also caught up in a similar type of investigation, pleaded guilty to 6 federal crimes, including sex trafficking, etc., wire fraud. So you see, Matt Gaetz, anybody who supports Matt Gaetz, anybody who supports Matt Gaetz, anybody who supported Trump, anybody who's just a common sense guy who gets up and goes to work every day, who loves this thing called the United States, you are just as bad as this Joel Greenberg fellow. Really? Let's take a look at some of these other members of Congress, shall we? From either party. I mean, if you're going to call one out, call them all out. That's what I say. The DOJ investigation into Gaetz concluded with no charges against him, as prosecutors reportedly were concerned that a jury might not find the woman's testimony credible. Well, could it be that maybe she was making it up? Not saying that she was, but could it be that maybe she was embellishing what happened? A spokesperson for Gaetz told CNN back in 2021 that the congressman had never paid for sex with anyone. The congressman also has been reported to be the subject of a House Ethics Committee investigation encompassing the accusations about sexual misconduct, as well as reportedly mishandling campaign funds and other possible financial improprieties. Like the Bidens haven't been involved in that. Like every member of Congress over the past 100 years has not been involved in improprieties in Congress. You don't call misusing the American taxpayers' money, you don't call that an impropriety? I do. Gaetz has denied wrongdoing, and this isn't the first time Gaetz has been investigated by the Ethics Committee. In 2019, the day before Trump's former personal lawyer Michael Cohen, and we know how reputable he is, was set to testify before the House Oversight and Reform Committee, Gaetz tweeted, quote, "Do your wife and father-in-law know about your girlfriends? Maybe tonight would be a good time for that chat. I wonder if she'll remain faithful when you're in prison. She's about to learn a lot." Democrat Representative Kathleen Rice of New York immediately called him out in a letter to the ethics panel for witness tampering. The Ethics Committee opened the investigation, as did the Florida bar, from which Gaetz had previously been suspended for not paying his dues. The House Ethics Committee admonished him, but did not find that his tweet rose to the level of witness tampering or intimidation. Okay, so it didn't rise to the level of witness tampering or intimidation. Is Matt Gaetz really that bad of a guy? Again, I didn't vote for Matt Gaetz. I really have no dog in this fight. But if you call out one, you should call out everybody. The Florida bar issued an advisory letter cautioning him against repeating his conduct. Gaetz, for his part, deleted the post and apologized to Cohen, but also said this is not witness tampering, it's witness testing. And they talk about his history in the Florida legislature. I'm not going to go through that. Now, this is funny. Brace yourselves here, okay? I think it's like second to last paragraph. This column could go on for many thousand more words about Gaetz' actions. Oh, please do, so I can just read through all this dreck. Deciphered for the audience here. He's been a loud proponent of the false conspiracy theory that the 2020 election was stolen. He suggested that the U.S. government hunt down its own citizens, tweeting during the George Floyd protest, quote, "Now that we clearly see Antifa as terrorists, can we hunt them down like we do those in the Middle East?" Miss or Mrs. Filipovic, remember all the looting and the rioting and burning down the courthouse in Portland, I believe it was? Wasn't Antifa behind that? But somehow Matt Gaetz is the problem. Matt Gaetz is the problem. After Kyle Rittenhouse went down to a Black Lives Matter protest and killed 2 people, in self-defense, mind you, and the court found that, he was found not guilty. Gaetz said he might, quote, offer him an internship. He has pushed the racist, quote, great replacement theory that people of color are overtaking white Americans. He says that, quote, to the left, do you see where this is going? So Matt Gaetz is not only a horrible human being, he's a racist. He's unhinged. I mean, I could go on and on here, but for the sake of time, I'm just going to cut the video now. But seriously, folks, at least Matt Gaetz has some balls. He did what should have been done a long time ago, 100 years ago in Congress. Get rid of these people who aren't doing their job. That's the issue here. It's not Matt Gaetz. It's the fact that Kevin McCarthy didn't follow on his promises. And the more chaos in Congress, the better, because that means things are finally going to get done. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you know what to do. You can also follow me on Instagram, hashtag Jason Composes, because I write music in my spare time. Or you can find me at Twitter, Culture Confederacy, or the new X, formerly Twitter. You can find me at Culture Confederacy, at Culture Confed1 on X. This is the Culture Confederacy saying peace out. Stay safe, everybody. God bless this thing called United States. I'll catch you next time, and you all have a great Wednesday.